There's a guy that walked into a non-trauma ER.
Okay.
Was stabbed in the neck.
Oh.
And he
was like fine. He was like walking himself in.
Yeah, he's like walking himself in and then collapses to the ground and he's bleeding. When you're not a specific trauma facility, you don't have the resources in the hospital 24/7 to be able to do these really intense surgeries. And the doctor, without a glove, like jumps on this dude's neck and grabs the artery there, the carotid artery, so he doesn't bleed out, and basically like gets a vascular surgeon on the phone that happened to be just finishing up a case upstairs. It's like a vascular surgeon happened to be there, happened to be available, and he's like, let's go. And so wheels up to the operating room holding this dude's carotid artery with his bare hand. Save this dude's life. It makes me emotional. Save this dude's life. And I was like, I think I want to be that guy.
That's a superhero.
Like, how do I become that guy? And it was 11 years of like intense work and dedication and not making anywhere near the money that I had made in like Hollywood at the time.
But you were doing something so meaningful. Like, you're saving lives.
And I was like, that's what I need. How do I do that?
Mr. Principal, Miss Rogers is discriminating against my daughter for her religious beliefs, and I want her fired for it. Miss Smith, these are serious accusations. And false, might I add? Oh, right. So you just happened to give my baby an F on her paper about how Christianity is the only way towards salvation. I gave your daughter an F on a poorly written paper. Poorly written because you don't agree? Because you feel attacked by the truth? Miss Rogers, is this true? No, and while correct, her paper was offensive. That's not why she failed. Her score is reflected in the rubric, okay? There were so many spelling errors, no real proper formatting, run-on sentence after run-on sentence, no citations. Everything was, I think, I believe, I like. She didn't even really give any direct quotes from the Bible like she could have to back up her opinions. Like, it was just fundamentally a poorly written paper. Great news. Looks like there's no discrimination here. I'm sorry, are you just accepting that? Accepting that my baby is writing from her heart about something she believes in and you're punishing her for it? She's not being punished for her opinions or her beliefs, Miss Smith. Her writing was just poor. Right, I bet you wouldn't be saying the same thing if it was a pro-trans paper. Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I don't believe it. Mr. Principal, I want her disciplined for being so discriminatory towards me and my family and for gaslighting me like this. Of course, don't worry, Miss Smith. I'll handle everything. You have a great day. Bye-bye. Mr. Principal, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, Miss Rogers, you did allow the students to do opinion pieces, and that opens the door for hurt feelings. I'm not grading their opinions, as offensive as some of them are. I'm grading the writing. The topics are supposed to be something that they care about so that they take the assignment seriously. I'm hearing a lot of different words, and all I really want to hear is, sorry, Mr. Principal, I'll do different next time. Capiche? I don't get paid enough.
Man, it was the end of a night shift. At the end of a night shift, you're already just like, it's been 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and you've hit a wall and you're exhausted and you like cannot wait to go home, get results back on a patient that's had this like intractable nausea, vomiting, meaning she just keeps throwing up and keeps throwing up, and she's already seen a GI doctor, and all these people are like, we don't know what's going on. I did a CAT scan on her and found that there was lymphoma all throughout her chest and her belly. And so I basically told her like last thing again, it was like probably 5:50 in the morning before I drove home at 6 a.m. after being up all night, that she essentially had cancer, and it was very widespread, and she had a 2-month-old baby. It was just like devastating for her and for me. And then I just drove home like in silence, you know. Then 2 years later, this person was in my ER. She was there for toe pain. And we're seeing like heart attacks and strokes and like sometimes like shootings and stabbings, you know. And she was there for toe pain. And I take every patient seriously, and I try to truly connect with my patient regardless of their level of acuity, is what we call it. Like
right.
How close to death they are, you know. Like,
of course.
I'm trying to connect with all my patients. I was like, man, I'm so sorry, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna heal up okay. And she was like, you don't remember me, do you? And she was like, you're the one who found my cancer 2 years ago. And I just want to let you know that I'm doing great. I'm in remission. My daughter and I are like, actually, no, just like,
I'm gonna start crying.
This is like the most joyful toe pain encounter I've ever had in my entire life. It made me so happy, and we hugged, and it was like, so glad that you broke your toe today, ma'am.
What is like the most dangerous situation you found yourself in?
There was a time when I was first guiding at 20 years old. It was one of those primitive trips, and so we were trying to cross a stretch of Arizona. There was a time when we were trying to get to the next location, and it was like, we can either go around this big kind of mountain system, spend 2 days doing it, or we can climb over this series of cliffs and cut like a day off of our route. And so we decided to do this. The thing was, we were about like climbing cliffs without ropes. These are 100-foot cliffs. The guys started climbing up one section, and then I saw some fire materials down the side of the canyon, so I went down there to go get those. And then I was gonna head back and climb the same way, but I saw another section of cliff, and I was like, this looks easier. So I started going up, and I get about 95% of the way up the cliff. Like I got 5 feet from the top, and I look up, and it's just like flat. There's nothing to grab. It was not something I could go down. Like it was just not stable. And so I'm like 100 feet up in the air, and I got 5 feet to go, and I'm on this little tiny like triangle ledge that's barely kind of like inverted, so I can push my hands on it, but it's all smooth, and I'm just kind of stuck in my pack. It's all tied on. I can't drop it because it's tied on with rope, and if I let my hands go, like I'm gonna fall off.
Yeah.
So at that point, my heart starts going fast. I'm looking down. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Stay here forever? And the thoughts just kind of cross my mind. It's like, you could let go. I don't know what else you're gonna do. You could just let go. 100-foot drop. You're gonna be dead by the time you hit the bottom. It's like, I don't want to die. The help is like, they're like a mile away. Nobody's around for me to yell to or do anything. I'm just like stuck in a kind of a burst of adrenaline. I just kind of pushed on the side of these flat rocks and somehow with my boots and hands was able to kind of scrabble, push my way up the rest of this little cliff with just a slight indent on the shape. I was able to kind of roll into some cactus on top because it was all covered in cactus. And I was like, I'm just laying in cactus. It hurts, but I'm also not dead.
You're like, thank God, I can feel how bad this hurts.
Like, I'm never doing that again.
Steve Jobs had a certain type of pancreatic cancer that potentially was survivable with modern medical treatment, surgery. And instead, he spent, I don't even remember how long, fighting it with diet alone. And by the time he finally decided, okay, we're going to have surgery, we're going to, allow modern medicine to treat this cancer, it was too late. I'm all about taking personal responsibility for treating your high blood pressure, your high cholesterol, obesity. Take ownership of that. And that is the much better route than having to be on pills, etc. Cancer, different situation.
Yeah.
Do not try to fight cancer
holistically.
There is what we call like complementary medicine, where yes, you can go down that route of eating certain, cancer fighting foods that maybe have not shown to have a significant effect on the long-term outcomes of the cancer once it's in your body, but they've showed like in a lab that it might have this or that effect. Great, do all that, but don't be afraid to simultaneously get treated the way that we've seen 30,000 people with this cancer, 100,000 people with this cancer, 500,000 people with this cancer have better outcomes.
Exactly.
So simultaneously do what's right for your body outside of the hospital and inside the hospital. Again, it doesn't have to be an or situation. It can be an and situation.
Lion King country. How did you deal with staying safe when it comes to predators?
The big thing for that area was to have a fire. So if we had a fire at night, we stayed in as a group.
They stay away.
The lions don't come in. Hyenas are a little more curious. We had actually have people watching. And hyenas are crazy because their bite strength is one of the strongest of any animals in animal kingdom.
Really? I didn't know
They
that.
have metal casings. We had cameras like next to watering holes that had like metal boxes for animal protection, and they would like bite the casing, like crunch it and rip the camera out.
Wow.
They're crazy strong jaw. I think it's like 3,000 pounds bite pressures per square
Would you
inch.
say that hyenas are more dangerous than lions
They
then?
can be because people ignore them less, and so there's been stories where people have been like camping in Africa, and they're out, and then a hyena will come in because they test stuff with their mouth and like rip their face off.
Oh my gosh. I had one kid who very clearly took an assignment out of the tray that had another kid's name on it. Didn't even erase, just crossed out the other kid's name, wrote his name at the top. And I got it and I looked at it and I was like, did you take Connor's paper and just like cross his name out? No. But like you crossed it out in marker. I can see it. Like, I see his name. Because, you know, like, when there's pencil under marker, you can still see it. I'm like, can you tell me what your assignment was on? I forgot. You just turned it in yesterday. No, I forgot. But that's my paper.